Welcome back to the 5 Napkin Burger Beer and Bourbon blog featuring us, the Happy Hour guys, and let's talk Bulleit Bourbon.
Welcome back to the Happy Hour guys. We feel very honored today to be with Tom Bulleit of Bulleit Bourbon.
Tom's great-great-grandfather, Augustus Bulleit, emigrated from France in the early 1800s and headed to New Orleans. And from there, he worked his way upriver to Kentucky, where he started making bourbon.
So he was a milliner, had the grains, had a tavern, made whiskey for himself, and since he had the contacts down in New Orleans, we'd go back down to New Orleans. It was an arduous, long trip at that point by raft, and would sell the barrels. I think they would age the whiskey by the mile. When they got there, they would drink the whiskey, and he would come back and get some more. 1860, he disappeared.
So the original recipe was lost, but Tom dedicated himself to rediscovering it, and we think he succeeded. We would call this a high rye bourbon, so can you explain exactly what that means?
The mash bill or the recipe, our historic from Augustus recipe, is 68% corn, 4% malted barley, and 28% rye.
28% rye.
Which is kind of maybe double what a typical bourbon would be. It will make it drier, push a little flavor out from the rye, and does absolutely straddle the complexity of the bourbons and the dryness of the rye.
Yeah. So this high rye content gives the bourbon a real spiciness, perfect for matching up with heavier sauces or big, beefier dishes. Think of bourbons that have a lot of rye, just like rye bread. They're definitely spicier than wheat bread.
Bulleit calls itself a frontier whiskey, and that makes a lot of sense to me because it comes at you with a big, spicy, bold nose. But when I add a splash of water or an ice cube to it, it really opens up and I start to get some sweet notes that I didn't expect.
So why not put this to the test next time you're at 5 Napkin Burger? Try a high rye bourbon, like Bulleit, and a cheddar bacon burger. Ooh, that sounds good. I'll see you there.
And that's why I like to pair Bulleit with the Hell's Kitchen wings. With that sweet sauce that then comes at you with spice on the finish. I bet they did that out on the frontier themselves.
Yes.
We're firm believers that that when you meet the people behind the labels, you get a better understanding of the bourbon or the wine or the beer, and there's a loyalty that develops. And we're just so pleased and honored to be here today with one of the true gentlemen of the bourbon industry. So thank you so much for taking time with us. We
Absolutely.
really appreciate it.
Absolutely.